The topic of today's video, my dear sweet friends, is this. Never let your insecurities make others feel insecure. We're off to a deep start from the very beginning. And this idea actually stems from a very particular story that was kind of a trigger for me. So I went to a party, has it already been a couple of months? I think it's been a month. Let's just say a month, maybe a month and a half. And I didn't really know anybody there. I was invited by a friend that I met a few years ago, and I would say more of an acquaintance than anything. But if I'm invited to something, I do my darndest to actually make it, because that's how I make so many connections, friendships, networks, acquaintances, all of the good things. I think it's just really good to put yourself out there and to show, hey, like, I really appreciate the invite. Thank you. Even if I don't stay that long, like, I'm going to make an effort for you, because I think that it would be really great if you did the same thing for me, should I have invited you to my event. Anyway, so I did the thing. I went, I was myself. I get there and I'm introducing myself to people, but nobody really wanted to talk to me. And they made it really obvious. Really obvious. Hi, I'm Megan. How are you? Hi. That kind of obvious. Really? Why else do you go to parties other than to mingle and talk and get to know people, other than the one or two people that you already know there? Is that really how these people live their lives? How boring is that? Is that really how these people were taught to live their lives? How boring is that? And it's just so incredibly disrespectful to the person who's really trying to put themselves out there and make themselves comfortable in this new group of people. Don't ever let your own insecurities of new people or new surroundings or new situations make other people who may not know a single human at another event feel insecure. That's horrible. So essentially, these people who are actually very professional, very smart, very intelligent, very affluent people are the ones that have this insecurity of not even allowing anybody else to penetrate their barrier or their group or their social norm situation. And that's just really sad for them. Please don't be that person. Please don't. Be the person who rises above all of that stuff. Be the person who says, I may be an introvert or I may be an extrovert, but my own feelings and my own anxieties are going to exist regardless of what anybody else feels. For the sake of these other people, I'm going to do my best to work through what's happening with me in order to help these other people to feel comfortable. Because even though I'm uncomfortable, they're uncomfortable too. We might as well not all be uncomfortable. So maybe I can kind of work through some of my stuff, at least enough to be kind and at least a little bit welcoming, so that my insecurities, the things that I'm dealing with, to my best extent, none of us are perfect, won't hinder somebody else to trigger any of their insecurities. Wouldn't that be lovely? Believe me, I've been the mean girl, I'm sure. I know I have. I wasn't attractive in middle school or high school or anything like that. I was a nerd. I didn't even get along with the nerdy kids because I was so much more of a nerd than they were. I kind of hung out with the burnout crowd because I was very smart, but yeah, I just didn't really fit in anywhere. And I think that those insecurities made it even harder for me to find the right niche group to fit in with. So I literally spent A lot of my later high school years, I think junior and senior year, eating lunch in my chemistry teacher's room. He was awesome. Like, I don't even regret any of that, but I just never really fit in anywhere. And it was because I was afraid to really figure out who I was. I had insecurities. I wasn't ready to work through them. But I really started to work on myself in figuring out who I want to be and who I am. Cat, that's a cat. In college. And thank God I did. And I really, honestly, have only started to come into myself, I would say, this past 1 to 2 years. And I'm 28 now. And I graduated college in 2012. So it's been a hot minute. A good, 7 or so years, 6 or 7 years. Cat, silly cat. And now that I'm dipping into who I actually am, my biggest joy in life is walking into a room, strangers, going anywhere, a store, going down a staircase at my friend's apartment complex, wherever. It literally doesn't matter. On an airplane, airport, anywhere. You can name a spot. I don't care. I will make the people that I'm around feel comfortable. Whether it's through words or not, whether it's just through communicating a smile, they won't look at me and say, wow, she's, mean. Or, I won't ever make anyone feel like they're not welcomed in a situation, whether it's just passing by or whether it's being in the same room as me. You're gonna feel like you matter if you're around me, because that's a conscious decision on my part. And that's the kind of energy that I want to provide for the world. Does it take effort on my part? Yeah, it really does. There are days that I don't particularly feel like being nice. It takes a lot of energy to be kind to strangers. It can. It really honestly can. Does it cost anything? No. Does it take effort and energy? Is that a kind of a cost? Yeah, it really is. Is it worth it? 100% yes. 100% yes. Because at the end of the day, as everybody says on the lines and in all of the cute little memes and stuff, you don't know what other people are going through. So when you walk into any situation, please be the one person in the room, at least, who puts your own insecurities aside for the sake of somebody else, so that you aren't projecting your own insecurities on them and making them pique their own insecurities. Because life is hard enough without having to go to an unknown location, an unknown spot, or even a known spot, and have to fight through somebody else's problems and not feel welcomed or comfortable in an already uncomfortable situation. Be the light. Honestly, just be the light. Be the person that says, oh, hey, I'm Megan. What's your name? Oh, that's great. I don't know if I've seen you here before. Are you from here? Are you from this area? Oh, no? Oh, you're from Chicago? Oh, that's so cool. I used to live in Chicago. Where in Chicago? Because we all know, if you live in Chicago, you probably don't live right in Chicago. Oh, ha, ha, ha. It doesn't take much to find some sort of common ground, to exchange a quick smile. And if you don't even have all the time in the world, talk to one person and then hook them up in with somebody else in the room that you know of that they'd get along with if they came alone, and if you don't have time to completely finish that conversation. I honestly feel like it's our social responsibility to help other people sometimes, and sometimes it can be as simple as helping them in a social situation. Learning to be good in social situations is a really important acquired skill, and it can take years and years and years to do. I'm still learning it. And the thing is, anxiety is a very, very real thing, and it's so unique to everybody. I get anxiety. I absolutely get anxiety. And thankfully, lately, being the past year maybe, I've been able to just really work through it in very healthy ways. I don't even know how, just through research and knowledge and good things, and really practicing kindness to not only other people, but to myself. But this whole idea of like being very self-aware and very mindful of what's happening in here with me and connecting it to here, and combining those things with the way that I interact in my environment, it's really helped me to minimize my own anxiety, and moreover, minimize the impact that I allow my anxiety to play on other people's lives. And I think that that's just a really powerful, beautiful thing. And if that's the one thing that I can give the world, is to not give it any more negativity than it deserves, I think that I'm really doing my part, honestly. Because I can tell you, like, one of the last times that I got really bad anxiety was at this party when nobody was welcoming to me. It really hurt. It really did, because I can get along with anybody. And for somebody to just straight up stonewall me, and not just one somebody, many somebodies, to just stonewall my kindness and just wanting to be somewhat included, it hurt. And it did cause anxiety, and I had to like go for a walk after and really process it. And I think I went and actually hung out with one of my other friends, and I was like, man, that was just a really eye-opening experience, that you can be perceived to be very successful and very elevated in the community, and still just have so much to learn about what it means to be a good person, And I think that kind of brings back the biblical story of the Good Samaritan. If you're not familiar with it, go look it up, because it's pretty spot on there. But it's one of those things, like, they know not what they do, and that's the saddest part. So that's the whole moral of the story here. We all have certain anxieties, and we all have certain insecurities. I know that we're not perfect, but let's try to figure out some ways, if possible, to manage them, at least to the point that we don't pique other people's insecurities and put our own insecurities on them, if possible. I know it's a tall order, but it would be a really, really, really wonderful thing. Anyway, the best gift you can give people, sometimes if you can't even talk, is just a smile. It can make all the difference some days. I think we've all been there. Anyway, my name is Megan Summer. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. And if you want to get more videos from me, that is a cat, and she is running all over the place. I don't even know what to tell you guys. She's so cute though. She's white and fluffy. I'm sure you've seen her in other videos. Anyway, if you want to see Mia in other videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions that you want me to consider answering via video, just drop those in the comments, or you can always email me. My email link is in the description of this video and also in my about section. So anyway, I love you guys. I'm really curious to hear any situations that you've run into that are similar to mine, like, you know, people not being very nice to you at parties, and just being able to recognize, like, hey, it was their insecurity, or, you know, anything like that. I would love to hear your comments on that, or your stories, or your experiences in the comments below. Anyway, love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.